This is your daily market review for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agents, your daily market review for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. Pretty solid day here in the world of Dan Max Realty, aka the Trading Agent. I thought today was exactly what I was hoping for in the market. We talked about blowing off last week, potentially chopping this week, pulling back. I think you're in this point where the market is in through the chop phase potentially coming. Hopefully you're being thoughtful. You know what your plan is. You're sticking to your disciplines, and let's get into it. Again, if you want to join the Discord room, hit me up on Twitter. Tell me your story. Want to know what's going on, because this room is meant for the cream of the crop that want to learn, people that want to study on their own, and they want to be financially independent, free, wealthy. Like, that's the goal here, is everybody in here to get to that point and learn from not only me, but from others, but realizing like the processes and how we do things and how much work it really is. A lot of people don't want to do the work. Again, hit me up on Twitter. I typically respond pretty quickly to messages. That's the best way. If you're newer, please check out the YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. Did a live chat earlier today. Again, another gem in the rough, especially the last couple minutes about day trading versus swing trading. If you're not sure where to start, this is probably a good place. Now, again, these videos might necessarily be in order, but check out the topics. They usually will present themselves as the order they need to be in. And on that note, let's get into the market, because again, we got the BOJ tomorrow, you got PPI, you got all sorts of fun stuff tomorrow. Bitcoin, not surprised, it's taking a little break at 21,000. Now it's broke this trend line, and we'll see if this ultimately is the real trend line, because I've had to go back and revisionist history, change trend lines at points, and that's part of the game. Because again, it's not as simple as straight lines. If trend lines were only perfect, they would never break, but a lot of them break. Because you're typically potentially past this trend line too and went nowhere. So let's just see what happens up here. Congrats if you bought the lows. We talked about, again, just like gold, you got to trade this stuff. The more it's up, the less you own. You trade around your positions. You anticipate pullback. Straight line moves are typically the end of the move, or coming off the bottom. Maybe this is the start of the move. I don't know. I don't really trust the market, but you do you. Have your plan. Oil, talked about it, potentially getting stuck up here at 80 plus. Looks like it is. Personally, I think at some point we'll touch the mid-65s, but doesn't necessarily mean we couldn't get up into the low 80s. Or Russia stuff goes on, Ukraine stuff goes on, or what a lot of people I don't think are talking about potentially is just it rising to mess up, I guess, the Fed's plans is the best way to put it. Because I think a lot of people think that inflation is anchoring in, but what happens if oil takes off? End of stable inflation. Goodbye. Natural gas. Just talk again. So if you have some, take some profit, potentially up into the low 80s. We'll see what happens here. I personally don't have any longs at this point, but I can see why if you're holding natural gas. Now, here's something why I wouldn't hold is natural gas down here, unless you're playing it through the right products that aren't decaying. Because at this point, you do have the floor, but it could go sideways. Again, opportunity cost. That's what you feel safe with. You know your stops. You can manage your risk, and then that's you. But at this point, might be late, or just come back to it later kind of thing. I'm not too concerned about it, but it does look like it's bottoming, but you can't play it really through the UNG. Sadly, that's just not the product that I think is obviously best at this point for this stuff. So let's get into is the market. The dollar, talked about it potentially bottoming. 3-day range, 50% fib, long-term trend line, this big black thick trend line. Now what? See what happens. 50% fib. If you want to buy the dollar down here, you got easy set stops. Pretty simple. Keep it simple. And if it does, maybe the market is about to pull back like we're talking about. There's some situations that are showing themselves that look like it. TLT, we talked about stabilizing here. Could the TLT crash or TLT rise? Again, at this point, I don't know if the bond markets are going to really signal which way the market's going to go next. Now, they have been moving in tandem for most of last year and started this year. We'll see if that breaks off, because if the recession's coming, bonds will get bought, rates should go lower, and the TLT up. Just keep that in mind. Could that change? We'll see. The VIX. Warned folks last week. I thought this, again, there's my alarm. I thought anything in the 18s would be a reason for the market to find, maybe not exactly find a top, I'm sorry. Volatility reintroduce itself. Again, because everybody's been buying puts and the market maker's been murdering them. Well, at some point they capitulated and it's looking like we're close. Now, I'm not surprised it's chopping here, but see what happens. Debt ceiling, all sorts of fun stuff coming up. But it makes sense why the market volatility could pick up. And again, the first pop might not be the best. Like, you mean the market could come back and the VIX could drop later on because it is VIX termination. So again, trade around your positions. Know your core, know your strategy, and just don't expect always to see straight line moves and be right. I mean, people just get so messed up with that. SPY. We talked about today being a doji indecision. Get close to the 0.618 and the downtrend here at 444. Could we touch that at some point? Absolutely. But could we pull back first? Now, again, could it be a minor pullback and then retest, or do we need to get back down to 390, 387? I don't know. Either way, I'm planning for it in both in my head. Took a little profit on First Solar today. Took a little profit on gold. Shorts, looking to add back if it does pop, and if not, cool, I don't care. Keep it simple, stupid. QQQ, getting tired up here, coming into the next VAP zone. We've talked about this. Potentially getting stuck here. Now, question is, do we have to go up to the trend line? I don't know. It's lagging. It's really hard to tell because the Qs just ain't acting. Ain't acting like it. IWM, watch for lagging. It lagged on the last move down in the market. Well, here we come back up towards the highs. Does it get over the 188? I don't know. DIA. Goldman Sachs gets thrashed, and look what happened to the DIA. It's been leading up. Got back over the August highs. Got into new highs in December, pulling back now, stuck in the VAP zone. That's why you watch this stuff. Today's action, slightly bearish, but notice what happened the following day. It gapped down and then came right back higher. So watch what happens. Like, if you see weakness, trade around it. I'm telling you, I don't think, now I get it, could be wrong, but probability based, if you see weakness, like, just be thoughtful. It could retest later, or if the debt ceiling pass. Okay? Like, again, I've seen the debt ceiling weak. I mean, I've seen the market drop 7% on that stuff. Could it happen? Yeah. But, I mean, if it resolves, then the market would come rip right back. Just be aware. Gold, talked about this very cleanly, why we thought it was probably a short up here, 0.618, and this resistance zone, in the zone, auto zone. Get out of here, cat. Watch it, sweetheart. Here we are. Everybody loves gold. Gold's up almost $300 an ounce plus. Everybody loves it. That's the wrong time to buy gold. It does look potentially distributive. People were wondering, like, look at this gap and then go higher and then come back to a little bit. Now, again, doesn't necessarily has to be perfect, but people are like, oh, I'm waiting for volume. I read that comment in the Discord room, and yeah, I mean, look what happened down here. It just, the price action had to, you had some nodes a little higher and it just went lower and died. Well, can we die up here before maybe a higher high later and it pulls back? That's kind of all I'm expecting. Now, how deep depends. Really depends. Now, everyone talking about the 50-day crawls and 200-day bulls. Okay. Well, the time to be in it was down here, not now, potentially. So, again, those indicators are always a little sketchy. We've talked about silver lagging, reason why we're thinking the short might work. Definitely not acting as well. Stuck up here. Stuck. GDX, congrats if you bought dust in the low 11s. Closed around, what is it, 12er? What did Dusty Bottoms close at? Oh, why don't I not have it on here? I don't even put on my trade sheet because I don't even, again, I don't chart the dust and would not recommend it. Closed around 12. Congrats. We'll see what happens to the GDX. I mean, watch what happens here at 31.13. GDXJ, same thing, pulling back 3% and change. That doesn't look necessarily bullish here. If you take out those lows at 39s, sayonara. AG, talked about the stock for the weeks, not looking like it should be up here. It's stuck. Again, maybe the miner's about to roll over. AEM, same thing in the sense of chopping. Let's see what happens here. You got your level like 54, better hold. Newmont, congrats if you shorted this. Talked about the 200-day in this zone. Here we go, auto zone. Get it kicking. I mean, if take out this 52 area, adios, amigos, pass. Been holding up, but then we'll see. I thought it might get to the 200-day, but either way, it doesn't have to. Keep an eye on it. AMD holding up pretty well, as we talked about. AMD filling this
Gap. Then I remember pink. There's an old gap. Looking below it, popping right back. Gaps up. Starts the move. Bunch of green days. Coming into some resistance. Now again, this has been a laggard from last year. At this point, I would suspect it has potential to maybe the mid upper 70s if the market holds. Again, I mean, just all relative to what the market can do. Nvidia talked about coming into the 175 plus area. This is that's a strong move straight up. I think if you see the 180 area, I think you can start taking a stab at it with a stop. Again, all of this is predicated on Feds having to go too far, the recession that is coming, and the ultimate chop of the market. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be opportunities for short and long. And if you're one of those perma bulls, perma bears, then trading really just isn't for you, because you got to realize the market goes in multiple directions. Up, down, and sideways is, to me, a direction. SMH coming into resistance. Could we get to 243? That's always possible. I don't know if we will or not, but here's the next resistance after coming down fast and coming right back to the range highs. I wouldn't be surprised if we backed up some because that could all this be. This all could be just a small backup. Adobe sideways chop, not really much to say. Apple popped, saw it up, had a longer wick today. Yeah, we're into the resistance. Viva la resistance, viva la resistance, whatever. This area is going to be an issue, the 130s. Amazon, nice run. Again, if you bought this last week, when we talked about in the mid 80s, upper 80s, congrats. Hell yeah. Again, it's a nice move. 81, almost 100, 20% in 2 weeks. Again, we've been banging some nice trades. Took the profits around here, kept going higher, whatever. Again, it's the more you're up, the less you own. It's real simple. CRM. Here we go at the 100-day. We talked about it holding this channel low, channel high, maybe. Keep an eye on it. Guggenheim. Now, again, like I said, tech is lagging. Could it pick up? I don't know. I don't necessarily trust it. Watching this 50-day here. Got below it. Struggling. Needs to get above it. Meta. People who are looking to short that early, hopefully they realized and watched the recaps and talked about maybe the next upside potential zone was in the mid 130s. And hurrah, Raggy. There it is. Oop, there it is. Microsoft popped off the lows, making higher highs and higher lows. It's a pretty vertical line, straight move, right? 220 to 240. I guess that's not 10% approximately, a little less. It's tough to know. There's resistance above. Let it play out how it's going to play out. NDAQ. Man, I keep forgetting about this. I want to short this sucker. I just got to remember, someone, if they see this in the 65 range, holler at your boy. MicroStrategy, again, Bitcoin holding up. MicroStrategy. Now, we talked about, and here's another banger if you took this. Talked about it holding the 135, 130, whatever that level is. It could run if Bitcoin. That's a bad donkey right there. It's $100 real quick. Now, remember, as these stocks get weaker and weaker because of the bull market ending, bear market, and again, momentum being lost, it kind of feels like a dead cat bounce. But I guess it's all predicated on what the Bitcoin does. Maybe it's the 200-day. Again, the more you're up, these are the names. I'd be looking to take profits. Again, how much is up to you? Netflix, we talked about hitting the upside target zone. I still remember people were trying to short this at 320s when it was on the way up. And here you are now, 335. Here you go. Upside target zone. Know your value. Know your numbers, not value. I down 6 points today. I had no reason to. Roblox, here's another banger. If you bought it down in this area and leaving a little lower, gaps up today on its metrics. Not the ideal candle you want to see. That's a solid run, 25 to 38. You're welcome. Again, we weren't bearish when everyone else was, and if you hit some home runs here, again, go take your seat in the dugout when you take your profits and relax. There's no reason to feel like you gotta cut someone off and get on base again. Again, sometimes the hardest, the best trades aren't back to back. It's like setting up for a marathon or a big project and expecting to just jump in and find the next winner. It's not always the case, and that's why I think there is some opportunity in shorting. Tesla getting into the blue zone, getting over the 20-day little gap on adding EVs being added in India. Well, again, 10% of the world right now, cars are EVs. I don't know if it gets up to another 5 or 10 quickly. Will that make a difference? I don't know. You got to trade Tesla. I mean, people love to say, like, you said it's going to go, it won't be above 200 this year. Well, no, I expect it to go below. And I said, watch the old recaps from the highs. I said this would be a double-digit stock when it was at the all-time highs and near at some point in the future. I have no doubt it will be. It's just a matter of when. What year? Is it this year? Next year. Letter X coming into resistance again. Will we break out? It's tough to say. Nucor hit the range highs. Backing off. We'll see what happens. I mean, if I was a bull, I would not really like this candle. Outside reversal potential. Not ideal. VALE. Gap down. Maybe it's done. I mean, these things have been on fire. You're welcome. I mean, some of these names have been absolutely spectacular. Arrow. ERO. Copper. Been on fire. I mean, I guess you could call that a little distributive. I mean, I just overbought. I mean, this thing goes up, goes down, goes up. I mean, every time it rises a couple points, it pulls back a point. Wouldn't be surprised. CCJ. I mean, would you be surprised if it gets tired up here? I mean, this candle. Here, let me draw the line so it's not ambiguous. Ambiguous like a duo. No, not CCJ. If you know that reference from Saturday Night Live. Yeah, it might struggle here. I mean, that candle, what is it? This one is the big volume one? Yeah, we'll see. So, I mean, it looks, again, it looks tired. Look at it. It just goes on a big run. Needs to consolidate or pull back. Keep it simple. Stupid. The KISS method. CF, sorry. Hits the 20-day, backs off again. I have a secret infatuation that I want to see this thing below 80, and I'll buy it back. Remember, I dumped all these. A secret insinuation. Come on, man. Pick your words. I've never an English major. I was always good at talking, but word dialogue, picking and choosing the words, I'm a math guy. I'm an absolute math guy. That is not a pretty hammer. MC Hammer dancing all over that. It might be coming back down. Again, love to see it in the low 40s. NTR, you bought this at 71, 72. Not bad. I mean, this was lagging. I don't really dig it. Aaron. Again, this thing has been a beast. I mean, took profits up here. Could it get up to our upside target zone? Daddy thinks it can. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, we'll see. There's all these like confluence of weird little trend lines. Either way, more you're up, less you own. Keep it simple. Stupid, right? All right. XLF financials. What do we say? Watch what's up here. Like this. Now again, look at the volumes. Increasing ever so slightly. But that candle at highs, sometimes at lows, you get these big, like extreme candles. Let's see if there's a big red one up at the high somewhere. Green at the high. XLF, where I haven't really seen it. I mean, here you go, pops up and then it flops. Pops up one a little further. Pops up and then flops. Here you go in May. My intuition is this candle is a trap. It looks bullish, but it might end up being the peak for the near term at minimum. JP Morgan, been on fire. Here you go, same thing. And it gaps down today and it's just flat. Not ideal, right? Morgan Stanley, I mean, basically the same crappy numbers as Goldman Sachs. Look at that, hit our trend line. Huge volume. Is that a novice gap? Novice gap. We'll see. I mean, put MS and not multiple sclerosis on your watch list. I'm talking about Morgan Stanley because that could be an epic short. We'll see. I talk about GS for today a lot. Like, this is a big part of the Dow. Ugh. Puke. That's not what you want to see out of financials. Let's just say that. XBI gets up to the range highs and pulling back. See what happens. I mean, as long as it holds 86 area, I think it could be okay. Question mark? I don't know. Solar, tan, range highs, backing off a little higher. Keep an eye on it. ENPH talked about it rallying back up after it took out the lows. Man, it got up pretty close to this support resistance area. Again, if you see it up, maybe it's ready. Again, I don't trust solar at all. Sedgerton. Range highs. Chopping. We'll see. I mean, this is a shoulder line of importance. Could it get to this one? I don't know. Let's talk about the real star of the show, First Solar. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm waiting for 190 today. I was like, you don't know if today could be an outside reversal. I mean, this is getting like 2 to 3 upgrades every day. Epic pump. You know, started shorting around here. Added some on the pop. In small nibbles, like nibbles, kibbles, and bits. And then when it dropped today, took a few points, kind of trying to trade around the position. Again, if it absolutely dumped, fine. But I had some puts that were slightly underwater that got less underwater, so I took those off and then added a few up here, a little bit of shares. Now, again, remember, First Solar is crazy. Just be, again, try to manage the position. We've seen straight line moves at least get 15-point pullbacks. I mean, you can get 121. Yeah, I mean, 10 points. We don't know. Is this a top? It feels very blow-off top-ish near term. Because I'm trying to, like, gauge it. Because I see some... Check this out on the monthly. We hit this next, like, chop zone right here. And we looked above it. I wouldn't be surprised if we get back under 177. What is this? 174, 175. Be careful. I think that might happen. Oil, let's end it up. Wild day. Down, up, down. Dogecoin? We'll see. Closes, oil in the 80s. We'll see. Lower highs, maybe higher highs. Again, I mean, I personally don't have a beef in the game, but I could see if the market melted, oil either is ripping because of oil rips and the market rips down because of oil going up, or the whole market pulls everything down. UNG, man, this is tough. Decaying ETF, try to get the lows for the love of God. I know it's probably when it's down a bunch or down here, you're like, ah, if you have to buy it. I mean, just look at the monthly, then look at the daily. I mean, I guess. 10 cuidado. XOP talked about taking profits up here by 140. Made a slightly higher high. Get up to the 100-day. That's not really the candle you want to see again. This has been a strong move. Off the lows. Do not be surprised if it backs up. Let's end it with some of these oil service names. ExxonMobil. Down slightly today. Getting a little tired up near the reference highs. Keep an eye on it. Oxy. This thing feels like it should be moving, and it's not. It's stuck here. Don't know if I trust that. EQT. Got over the 20-day, but that's not ideal. We'll see what happens. PXD, you would think it'd be up a couple points, but popped up and flopped. All right, if you got any questions, please reach out. I know the markets are hard. It's ChopX. Trade around your position. As soon as you get comfortable, the market's probably going to make you feel uncomfortable with putting a decision on you that might not be easy. So my point being is if you are trading this market as you should be, please be thoughtful. Please, 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 please be thoughtful, because I don't want people to be surprised if they short and then the market rallies, or if they buy some dips and then the market doesn't rally. Again, you have to be aware of all the scenarios and how they're going to play out, because if you're just playing it and flying blind and kind of just playing this guessing game where you hope things play out in a certain way, I'm just telling you, it just doesn't, that's not in your favor, y'all. All right, hit me up. I appreciate the love, support. Again, generous donations will be always appreciated. I will drag you to the finish line if I have to get you to understand this stuff. Because, again, if you're involved and you are investing in your education and I'm part of it, I want to help. All right, talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.